Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. JACALYN. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. JACALYN at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK. I'm the president, founder, and chief listening officer here at our network. Our show today is the United Kingdom News and Culture, and we've got a smaller panel today, but a mighty panel, and we've got a lot to discuss. So let's welcome DIANN FLOYD BOEHM. Hello.
Hi, Dr. JACALYN.
Hello, and let's welcome Simon MacDonald. Hello.
Hello, everyone. Nice to be back. Sorry I was late, and sorry I missed the last 2 weeks. I've brought a note.
We're so happy to have you.
We're glad to see you now. And hello, Helena Chard.
Hi, so lovely to see everyone.
Nice to have you back. And Ian Pelham-Turner is off on assignment somewhere. And we know that Helena, you and Ian have been so busy covering the passing of the Queen and everything that's going on there. And actually, our last show, we were discussing how strong we thought the Queen was, and things turned very quickly. So tell us what's the latest and greatest there, Helena.
They did. You're so right, Dr. JACALYN. And we were talking about it on the last show. And I mean, we all thought that although Her Majesty the Queen was obviously frail, she was still strong in spirit. She was incredibly bright, alert. You know, her mischievous comedy was completely 100%. And we're all in a state of shock. And I think discombobulated, I mentioned earlier, is how I'm feeling. Jane Barlow actually was the last royal photographer that took Her Majesty the Queen's picture at Balmoral. Obviously Liz Truss was in the picture, but there was a separate one as well she took of Her Majesty, and she was talking about it as well, just saying that although she was frail, she was just so bright, and you know, almost within 24 hours Her Majesty had passed, and everyone was just completely shocked. But it is the case. Everybody's been, you know, has been working towards it in a way. Everything has gone seamlessly, I would say, in the transition. But we're all so shocked. And I think, I mean, the positive about it is whenever there's this grief, and there is huge grief. I mean, I'm having seen, obviously, Her Majesty's coughing in Scotland and also Ireland, and also is just here. So Her Majesty is lying in state at Westminster at this moment. I think the most amazing thing is just seeing how amazing the constitutional thread is, more so than I think I'd ever realised, and how each and every one of us is actually all part of the fabric. It's amazing, and I'm so thankful because I love the history, and I'm sure you do in the States as well and all over the world, of seeing the fact that we can actually see everything. So everything's being televised, which is absolutely brilliant, and I think it brings everyone together, and we all have a sense of pride. Obviously, Her Majesty the Queen, what an amazing woman, and it's just incredible. I'm sure Simon as well, watching all the footage, or he may have been even there, I don't know, is in Balmoral and Edinburgh, is amazing. But the camaraderie of people at the moment is huge, and I personally been running to Buckingham Palace and being interviewed by lots of media that's come over, and people are just amazingly warm. Everyone wants to talk. Everyone wants to know stories. And I love that sort of story-centric place. I love finding out about people and people's thoughts. And as I say, it takes a sad time sometimes to bring that out. But that's where we are. I mean, at the moment, I feel for the royal family hugely. King Charles III, I think, is doing so well, obviously with Queen Camilla beside him. I don't know how anyone else, I don't know how I'd manage. When I think about how much has been going on, it's incredible. You have to be incredibly strong. And they are, and incredibly bright.
It's because there's so much history and pageantry that it's so much of it is like goes back centuries, right? So people kind of know movements and so forth that make it seamless in some ways. Would that be correct?
Yeah, I mean, I think the history, I mean, that's what's brilliant, I think, about here is that history that goes back years. And I love that. I really love it. And I think everyone loves to see it. And the whole pageantry and the guards. And honestly, the amount of work that's gone into everything, the precision, it's been seamless, to be quite honest. I mean, I really do think, apart from obviously you do get a few people who want to sort of try and ruin things, but as you're moving away from that, it's been seamless. And I think probably the funniest thing I would say in the accession is King Charles III. He's been absolutely brilliant. He had a problem with his ink pen a few times. I think in Ireland, he was signing something and it leaked all over his hands. And he was heard sort of saying, "Oh my goodness, this stinky pen, how can this happen?" But can you imagine when you've got so much going on and you expect the small little things to happen? And it is those little things that send you over the edge, isn't it? So he was coming in, but true to form, Camilla came in, sort of smoothed everything over, almost like Her Majesty and the late Duke of Edinburgh. It was a lovely thing to see. And I think also there was another point, I think in Scotland, actually, Simon. And again, he was trying to sign these great big things, but it was this tiny table and these huge, great big sort of script things. Mm-hmm. And his sons had bought him this wonderful ink sort of big thing that you can balance the pen in and also have the ink in. And of course, there wasn't enough room, and it just caused a bit of fiasco. But in a way, it was a bit of comedy in this kind of scenario. But I found it incredible, although a very sad time. Amazing to see how Her Majesty the Queen has sort of seamlessly passed things on to King Charles III in such a way. What an incredible woman. I mean, she will be so missed. She's part of us all, isn't she? I mean, I don't know how you feel in the States as well. Do you feel it? Have you got all the footage there and everything?
Yes, I would say we do have it here. I actually found out when I was live on the film and music show with Madeline, and I just started crying, and Madeline started crying. And yeah, it's a legacy, the legacy that she's left. I actually wondered, from what I saw, the last meeting that was in the public domain was when she met with Liz Truss. And I wondered if she worked herself up to be able to be at that meeting, if possibly she knew.
Yeah, I reckon she just wanted to see Boris Johnson off the premises.
Yeah.
It was something worth waiting up for, I think. But she's an incredible person, absolutely incredible. And she's the mother and grandmother of the world. She really is. I think everybody knows her. I mean, she's undoubtedly the most famous person in the world. I'm still using the present tense. It's actually quite difficult, but she's a formidable person, and I think there were several things that she wanted to see done, and and before she eventually decided, okay, that's it, I've done my bit now, I'm away to find Paddington and and pad off to the other side. So it was very moving the way it was all done. The organization was flawless. It was absolutely extraordinary how quickly everything just slotted into place, and as Helena says there, it went seamlessly from both the Scottish side and in England as well. It's just extraordinary, and I feel very sorry for King Charles. I was about to say Prince Charles again. Oh dear. And very really sorry for him, because he hasn't had a chance to sit down and actually grieve. He's just been on the go non-stop. And I was watching when the Queen's coffin was being taken to St Giles, and he walked up the Royal Mile. Now, anybody who's walked there, it's a pretty steep hill all the way up, and and he's like me. He's not exactly a spring chicken, so and if his knees are anything like mine, he would have been in a lot of pain. But he went up there, and dressed in his field marshal's uniform, and the coffin was put in. They went back down to the Holyrood House again. He got changed, and he was almost straight back up there again. I was actually just wondering, when's this guy getting a chance to sit down and eat? Never mind getting a chance to sleep, because he has been on the go non-stop, absolutely non-stop, right the way through. The incident with the pen, well, I can sympathize with that. It's happened to me before, and I thought he was remarkably well restrained in his language. He is known for using a bit of colorful language from time to time, but he was remarkably well restrained. I think I'd have really let rip. But yeah, we're all going to miss her, and and this, missing her is going to go on for a long, long time. I took my dog Isla out for a walk the following morning, and went through the village here, and it was a very pretty place out in the West Highlands, and there was something missing, and it was almost tangible. And I know it was the Queen's missing, but there we are. Things. It's just this huge change that's going on in front of us just now. History is unfolding in front of us, and it's the first time we've really had the full benefit of television, so the world can see everything that's going on. This has never been done before. Quite extraordinary.
I know what you're saying there, Simon, as well, and I think it's that sort of reassuring presence that we had with Her Majesty. That we've lost in a way, but I don't know. I just feel that she'll be with us through King Charles, absolutely. And what was lovely, also watching everything in from Balmoral, moving through to Edinburgh to St Giles Cathedral, which was a beautiful cathedral, and just watching King Charles and obviously his family holding this silent vigil. It was the most, I don't know, for me, breathtaking. I wasn't there personally, but just watching the general public also go through, looking at the coffin, paying condolences, everyone just thinking and thinking their thoughts. And it was such a peaceful, lovely time. I just thought it was absolutely beautiful. And I think one thing as well is that Princess Royal, who obviously is Princess Anne, but known as Princess Royal, what an amazingly strong woman. I mean, as we know, she does the majority of, well, she does the most work each year out of the Royals. She is incredibly strong. She's the only daughter of Her Majesty the Queen, just to share with everybody. And she has been phenomenal. She shared the last 24 hours with her dearest mother, Her Majesty, and has sort of said to everyone what a privilege as well that she's been on her final journey with her. And I think she's incredibly stoic. She's got a lot of her mother as well in her, and it was lovely to see. And bringing it round, obviously, here, we just this moment, we followed Majesty's the coffin from Buckingham Palace. So she was there in the BOEHM, the main, so her family was there with her. And then in the throne room, where her main staff would be and sit and obviously give their thoughts and things to her. And obviously then moving down, with the household cavalry, so you've got all the pomp and ceremony. down, Horse Guards Parade, through the Arch, through Whitehall, and now she is there. She's now in Westminster, and the Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, has given a fabulous speech. Politicians are with her, and all the people that have been queuing for hours, bless, and they've got those yellow bands, etc., will be sort of joining, giving their thoughts from 5 p.m. today. And she lies in state at Westminster until Monday morning, 6:30. So lots of people are running, obviously trying to get into London. It is incredibly busy. That's what I'd say, that the waiting time is sort of days at the moment. And one of the things I've heard loads of people talking about, you can only have a small bag with you, you can't have everything. But the one thing that people forget, I would say, and being a photographer, I know this, do not drink too much. Have a small bottle of water with you and maybe some sweets that you can start, but do not drink too much because, there's queues and things to get through, and obviously there aren't loads of toilets available for everybody along the way.
Interesting. It's you had asked earlier about in the States, and my comment was, actually, I was driving down the road and heard it, and I quickly pulled over because I was in shock off the highway. And I text Dr. JACALYN, but I forgot to press push so she would know. So then I found out later, but I was just, I was just in shock. And as Simon said, the Queen, she's y'all's, but because she's like the only queen since I've been alive. And and I know supposedly there's other queens in other countries, but if you just say the Queen, you immediately think Queen Elizabeth, because for me, she is Queen of the world. And, we learned about her so much in school, and then we would study, historical events and current events and things that were happening in England and in high school, and quotes were always happening from her. And so I find her as a huge role model, and I'm deeply saddened for the passing. And I do. It's hard, I think, as you and Simon pointed out, that they have to be on display, and yet that grief is so deep down inside. So I'll be glad when they have a moment of just quiet time and no cameras, so the family could just be regular people. Does that make sense at all?
Yeah, no, of course, absolutely. But I think it's really important to remember the joy, courage, strength Her Majesty the Queen has given to everybody. So it's almost, we need to celebrate her life. At the moment, everyone is mourning, and I understand it's like, especially when people come together, it reminds you maybe of people in your life that passed. It brings back it's just a lot of emotion, isn't it? And I know there's lots of people out there to help people at the moment, because it's amazing how emotions fly around. But what a wonderful woman. Such an extraordinary life of service, and it's something, we can all learn from it, can't we? So she's just left, it's amazing what she's left. But do you know what? There's been lots of thoughts about King Charles III, but he is an amazing man, I would say personally. He's done a lot. One, he's had a lot of training, let's be honest. He's 73, guys. He's got an amazing woman behind him as well, who knows him incredibly well, is there to take the stress away from anything that he does. So they are really good. I would say, she is a tonic to his gin, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
A real rock. So that's lovely to see. And I think what's pleased me is at the moment there's lots of stories coming out about King Charles that really people didn't know about, because obviously he was tarred with Princess Diana, there was the Black Spider reports and things like that. But behind all of this, let's be honest, we know what media's like. So 24/7 people are trying to find stories. And he had, I think he was misjudged and a lot of negativity was brought out about him. But he's a very good man, and he gives people time. You know, he's interested in every single person. You know, he wants to and has wanted to improve our world for years and years and years. You know, he's interested in organic farming, the way people live. If people are less privileged or maybe a little bit more wayward, you know, how can we help them? You know, there's lots of different things. I mean, also, Her Majesty passed on really quick wits, very bright brain, very quick, to all of the children, obviously to King Charles the most, I would say, at this moment. And I'm so thankful that everyone's going to see this, and people will see. And I really do think that people will take him into their hearts. Maybe not so much as Her Majesty, because if you think about it, she was almost a little bit of an enigma. You know, you wouldn't know absolutely what she was thinking. Unlike obviously with Charles, he's been a little bit more vocal. I love the fact that Zara said something which was quite interesting, that her quiet authority, she used to give quiet authority with just a glance of an eye. And that's what she used to do in a way. And it could be a wicked eye, which was for humour, or a sort of like, again, a quiet authority. I mean, we know King Charles more, but I think, I fingers crossed, my feeling is that the people at the moment are, he's making a big effort. You know, he wants to know the people. He's getting out there into the crowds. In Edinburgh, the same. Obviously now at Buckingham Palace, even in Ireland, and of course there's political unrest there. But you know, Her Majesty the Queen always prayed for peace in Ireland, and that's been passed on to King Charles to continue. And although people want to see sort of stickiness and upset, really, I just feel there's a lot of love, which is fabulous to see. So onwards and upwards. But I mean, you know, imagine how these people are feeling at the moment, the royal family are feeling. And also the route here from Buckingham Palace to Westminster, it's the same route that, let me get this right now, the Duke of Cornwall, that's Prince William, and who's got a new name, and the Duke of Sussex, as in Prince Harry, took when their mother passed away. So I'm sure it's bringing up lots of the same route they did when Princess Diana died. And I'm sure it's bringing up lots of emotion for them having to do that. We could talk about it for ages, but I'll stop. Sorry.
I think this is an opportunity where it seems possible that there might be a bit of a healing of the rift between William and Harry. I think this is an opportunity, and I really hope they do get back together again, because it's been a terrible sticking point for them, and it must have been worrying for King Charles as well, being their sons at war, and that and that's no good. But so reflecting on Charles, he's a man with dignity, but he's a people's man as well. So he gets on well with people. He knows how to talk with people, how to put them at ease, and he's learned that undoubtedly from his mother. The only doubt I have about him is the job he's got now. There's absolutely no prospects of promotion whatsoever.
That's funny.
Not a good career move, is it, really? Where do you go from there?
He's been waiting for this for years. So although he's going through grief and I'm sure absolutely exhausted, he will also be thrilled, because he knows everything that his mother did inside out, and now is his time. And I think as things were going on, we're all talking about, will it be Prince William? Is he going to become king, etc.? But that was obviously a worry to him, because knowing he wanted it quite badly. So yeah, he's got it, which is fabulous. I'm so pleased. And there's so many different people as well. I think that especially for me, that I've met, and the camaraderie that's going on at the moment with just everybody. It doesn't matter who you are. People lining the streets is fabulous. And I know by the palace at the moment, Pal, the flowers and all the things that are being left is just amazing. I don't know what the actual true turnout of people showing and paying their respects has been, but it's like this oasis of flowers. They've had to move everything into Green Park. So, and I know that there's something at the Tower of London, which is an exhibition which is showing wild flowers and everything. But actually, the place to go is Green Park, because it's swathes and swathes of these amazingly beautiful flowers, and it's created almost like it's almost like an art, installation, which has created these big parks. And people, just general people, have taken an interest as well. They're sort of getting rid of the plastic and laying things out in a lovely way. And again, it's lovely for families, a lot of children as well, just to be there, to think their thoughts, and to all chat. And it's beautiful. I think the funny thing, actually, one of the things that's happened is everyone's been told. So for all of Her Majesty's mourners have been asked to stop leaving marmalade sandwiches, which is what's happened, as you can imagine. And also little Paddington bears and things like that. They've been asked to stop doing that because obviously it's not quite stuff that will break down. Because what's going to happen with the flowers in a while is it's going to be turned into compost, which again I think is a fabulous thing that's going to happen with it. But it truly is the most amazing visual, and very similar to, I don't know if everyone saw, but when Princess Diana passed, there was this, again, lots of flowers, except for I would say that Her Majesty, it's an even bigger, a bigger situation, even more flowers. But it's lovely. It's lovely. So nice. And the people that I've met have been tremendous. And I would like them to come onto your show, JACALYN, because you're all about as well inspiration and people that are inspirational and can help people. And I have met a few people. There was somebody called Kezia Burton, sculptor. And I was doing an interview, I think with NBC, and she suddenly rushed down towards the palace, but she couldn't quite get into where media was, the main media bit, and towards the left. And she was suddenly said, I'm the one, I've done the last sculpture of Her Majesty the Queen. And she was absolutely wanting to show it off to everybody. She hasn't actually shown it to any platforms yet. And that's why I was saying that you would be perfect, because it's beautiful. She did this sculpture apparently, and it's Queen Elizabeth in her ATS uniform, which was her veteran uniform that she wore. Do you remember when she, I don't know if everyone knows, when the war was over and it was like D-Day and she danced outside the palace? So I think that was on the 8th of May 1945. Anyway, so she's absolutely fantastic. I've seen pictures, and I've also seen pictures of King Charles that she started. But it would be lovely to show off her work and to chat with her, because it's amazing.
Fantastic. That would be fantastic.
Helena, you and Ian have introduced me to so many fabulous people over there. Please keep them coming. We would love to spotlight their work.
Oh, I will do. And there's actually somebody else as well that she actually has had more coverage, because I know Kezia hasn't, but it was a sand artist. I mean, you may have seen it, I don't know, because I know that lots of sort of things go around the world, don't they? But she's called Claire Easton, and she is a sand artist that does huge, she uses a rake on the sand. And she did a moving portrait of Her Majesty the Queen on the beach in the UK. I'm not too sure where she's positioned in the UK. It was something like 70 foot, this massive stamp that she did, and it looked beautiful. And then she got a drone to actually film it. And it was her fond farewell, because what happened is the waves sort of came in, and then sort of like swept her design away. But she's actually got it all in video format, so that would be lovely to show as well. And that's what I love, you know, it's all these people coming together and just, they're so creative and showing their respects in different ways. And I just love it. All these inspirational people. I certainly learned from them, that's for sure.
Yes, I think the whole process has made many lifelong friends as well. I mean, the people who are now queuing to, you know, to pay the respects. You know, I've heard some amazing stories of how, you know, they've just come together, bonded, obviously common interest, with the reason of being there, and yeah, and these people become firm friends forevermore. It's just, you know, there's all these delightful stories coming out of it, and I think they will come and continue to come for quite some time to come. Yeah, I mean, there was one lovely one there with the marmalade sandwich again, lying in amongst the flowers there with a note attached to it, says, "This will see you on your way, ma'am." just appealed to me, that one. Because I think that was one of the real sort of recent iconic moments of Her Majesty's life. That skit that she did with Paddington Bear for on the Platinum Jubilee. I think it was just an absolute stroke of genius, that being done, and the fact that she managed to keep it secret from everybody as well. I think, and it just matched her sense of humor. Incredible person.
I agree. And something I wanted to mention also is I've heard from numerous people, you get to be a certain age and they don't feel like they're relevant anymore and they can't bring any value, which is certainly not true. And this just goes to show Her Majesty was bringing value every day, and she's revered across the world. So it doesn't matter what the number of our age is. It really doesn't. And I hope that people will be inspired to push themselves out of their comfort zone and continue to give back and give something to this earth and to each other, as long as we're here, regardless of what our age is.
Yeah, age is actually just a number, and that number denotes the amount of experience which you have, and you work on it.
I love that.
Absolutely.
I love that. Helena, you brought up King Charles III, and I'm actually very excited to see what all he's going to bring, because, as you said, he's had years to think of this moment and the things that he would love to do with his country. So I'm sure he's like bringing out all types of scrapbooks and outlets of different things, and it's going to be fun. It's a different world that he's taken on compared to when the princess, who became queen, you know, of the war and all of that. So I think it's going to be very exciting. And I think King Charles III, because he is into organic farming and he is a people's person, that the love for the queen will always happen and continue, but King Charles is going to bring new vitality. Does that make sense at all? I'm always saying that today, but I'm just, you know, curious to see your thoughts.
No, I understand what you're saying, absolutely. I mean, he's got huge shoes to fill, let's be honest. And, you know, it's one of those things that you can't, in a way, you can't compare him to the late Her Majesty the Queen. You can't. That's not fair, is it? People have to take on their own. But he will encompass everything that she did. He really will. He's a bright spark, and he wants to do well. He wants to do fabulous for our country. And you know, all the charities. I mean, I think everyone's been a bit worried about his charities as well. You know, he's done so well for the Prince's Trust. You know, working with young people who are maybe underprivileged or don't believe in themselves. And his charity is phenomenal. It's still there, the charity. He's not going to be able to give as much time to certain things that he believed in, but obviously it's the Duke and Duchess of Cornwall. Goodness me, this is Prince William and Kate, who are also known as the Prince and Princess of Wales, will jump in his shoes. I mean, they'll also be doing other things for themselves as well, but people are worried, you know, that maybe they'll be left behind. They certainly won't. Just that he won't be able to give as much, obviously. But he will do a sterling job, and I think people have to, we're quite fickle. I mean, in sense, humans in general are quite fickle. I think sometimes people can be a bit sort of like, oh, suspect something a bit too much. I think they can't. But, slowly. I mean, that first speech at King Charles Cave, during the accession where he became king, was absolutely fantastic. It was the most amazing speech. It hit every chord with me. I think he was so real. He does wear his heart on his sleeve anyway, and I think the emotion shone through, and his intention of carrying on his mother's wishes. And I think that moment, I think people were reassured that although we're in this fractured society at the moment, and to lose Her Majesty the Queen at this time is devastating to people. But that reassurance suddenly just passed on seamlessly. And I love that. What a perfect first speech. And in fact, he's done a few speeches now, and he's tremendous. I think we're going to have a little bit more Shakespeare in there, in all of the things that he does, because he's into that, rather than the horses and things like that. But I look forward to it. And I also look forward to celebrating Her Majesty the Queen, remembering all the fun things that she used to do and all her fun stories and her little cheeky devilment. I really do. I think probably as we keep speaking over the weeks, we'll bring in little tiny snippets, just really in her memory. It's always good to chat about, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yes. Helena and Simon, a question I have for the two of you. You actually have met the Queen. You've met the royal family. What memories do you have? What comes up for you in your experiences there?
I mean, the first time I met her, I was slightly taken aback because, I mean, she is incredibly small. But she's the person who walks into a room and absolutely fills it. And she has she had an aura about her, which was fun. She was an absolute joy to be with, and she put you at your ease as well. Just so much coming out of this very small package. Just an amazing person. But I was quite sort of staggered just actually how small she really was, and I sort of thought, am I standing in a box here or something, or she's gone into a hole in the floor. I mean, she's really, really small. But and then when her smile came, the whole room would light up. It was just she had a personality which was 20 times her size, and I think Helena was, and anybody else that has met her would have to agree to that. Extraordinary person, and a wicked sense of humor to go with it as well. Loved dogs, loved horses. I believe there was one instance though with one of her senior people around her who lost the job because she let it loose that the Queen had said that, well, she wishes she wasn't a queen. She wishes she was living in the country with lots of horses and lots of dogs, which I think is a lovely thing. And actually, I think is very true of exactly how she would love to be. But it cost somebody the job, rather sadly. But there we are. We can't all hold their jobs down.
I understand why they lost their job, actually. That's a terrible thing to say. She was a woman of service, and she gave her vow in 1947 that she would be here for all of us. And she never waned in that. So she worked tirelessly, really, realised her responsibility. She did, however, enjoy when she went to Balmoral. And I think when she used to drive through, she used to sort of like throw her shoes off, and it was a bit like, yippee, because she just enjoyed that quiet time. And I have to say, I haven't been to Balmoral, but I certainly am going to go now. It's absolutely beautiful. Honestly, what a beautiful place. And of course, Simon's been there many times, but it's absolutely stunning, the countryside. And I so understand why that was her place of enjoyment, and also for all the royals, because I mean they used to have a wonderful time having barbecues outside, and just I just think the thing that I didn't realise as well, just from a very normality kind of thing, is that she has cottages around Balmoral, and you can actually go walking and get lost, walking along. But she'd have barbecues, and then she'd suddenly just go to, say it would start raining or something, she'd have a few cottages that she would have in mind to go to, and she'd turn up, and just the public would be there. Because there's no law there to stop people from, there's no trespass law, which I found amazing. So literally the public would suddenly see Majesty the Queen turn up, and she would actually have a chat with them. Absolutely amazing. I can't wait to go to Balmoral. Absolutely love it.
It's a fabulous place. It really is. It's quite extraordinary. I mean, a lot of these country estates are just like that as well. I mean, we've got plenty of them in the Highlands. Balmoral Estate, I think it's about 65,000 acres, so it's a pretty big garden to have. And it's somewhere you can just go in and you can kick your shoes off and relax. And I can assure you, inside Balmoral, there's nothing palatial about it. It's the carpets are threadbare and so on. It's the place you just want to kick your shoes off and just slop yourself back in and a battered old couch, which has seen an awful lot of service. It's it's a real comfort place. And it was just actually sort of thought there. I remember my father during the war, at the end of the war, he was the colonel of the guard at Balmoral for King George VI and what was naturally the Queen Mother, and he had dinner with the King and the Queen, and after the dinner, he was asked to amuse the young princesses, which is Elizabeth and her sister Margaret. So they played sardines, and I mean, sardines is actually quite an intimate game, I suppose. It's a bit like hide and seek, but when you found the person you're looking for, you stay with them until eventually everybody is all sort of linked up together. So that's it. So he found the young Princess Elizabeth, later our Queen, in the broom cupboard, and so they had quite a lengthy conversation in this darkened broom cupboard. I didn't ask too many details exactly what went on, but that was a remarkable story. My father had great delight in telling me how he got stuck in the broom cupboard with the Princess Elizabeth. But she was a people's person. And and what you say, Helen, absolutely right. You could bump into her. She would go to the local shops. Okay, she didn't carry money with her, but she would go to the local shops and walk down the local street, and the local people would just accept her as one of them, as a local. There was no pretenses about it. It was a lovely, lovely thing. And this is what the Queen loved so much about Balmoral, because she could be herself there.
How wonderful. Everyone needs a place like that.
Oh, don't we all?
I think as well, the lovely thing to know as well, I think it had the flowers on her coffin when her coffin travelled from Balmoral. It was her wildflowers in her garden that were part of the wreath, and gardening was her happy place. We know that she had a few that, like her animals and things like that, but it really was something that she threw herself into, and it was all about her well-being. It was all about her gardening, which makes me feel, I didn't know 100% that till recently, and that thrills me because I love gardening too. So
me too.
Yeah. So nice. It's so lovely to hear. And she loves wildflowers. She likes wildflowers, and she likes white. So she has springy kind of looks, and she does like Lily of the Valley as well. But yeah, beautiful. There's a lovely book actually that came out. I think it's something like, I wish I knew the name. You know what it's like when you think about things and you can't quite remember. It's Her Majesty the Queen and Wildflowers, or something like that. But it was something that came out after 60 years of her reign. And I know King Charles, as we know him now, wrote the foreword. And it was all about wildflowers and things that she loves. Actually, now I've mentioned it, I'm going to dig it up. I'm going to dig it up after the show. I'm going to have a little look. I haven't got the book, but I did think to order it, sort of like a memory. Yeah, really lovely.
Well, Thank you so much for being here today. I know how busy your schedules are, and I really appreciate you making time and sharing this space with us and sharing your memories and what's been going on there in the UK. That means so much. I know, Diane, you feel the same way.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And there's so much more I know we could share.
There's lots more, but we've got lots of weeks hopefully to share things.
Yeah.
I think at the moment it's to remember to celebrate the extraordinary life of Her Majesty the Queen, and that's really important, because at the moment with mourning and everything, obviously there's that sadness, but there's so much to celebrate. And she was a real woman of faith, absolutely. That was her love, that's her heart, and we can't forget that.
No, you can't.
A real role model for everyone. Well, we have to close out now because we have another show coming up, Global Adventures, starring Janetta Barry and her son, Neil. And they will be coming to us from East Africa, which is going to be very exciting. So tune in for that. I'm going to spotlight each one of you. Diane, last comment for today.
God bless all the people in the United Kingdom, and I wish all the best for King Charles III and for the peace that he'll help bring to the world.
Thank you, Diane. Beautiful. Helena.
So, Catherine Jenkins, a very well-known performer here in the UK, has recorded the first ever version of God Save the King. And this was recorded in a rural church in Sussex. And we will always remember Her Majesty the Queen. But just moving on, God live the King. What was I going to say? Version of God Save the King. Goodness me, I can't even get it right. It's so new. Okay, God Save the King. Yeah.
Yes.
That's what we must remember.
Fabulous. Thank you very much. Simon, last word to you.
Right. Well, very simple. I mean, live life like the Queen. Live it for today and live it for the minute. For too late is when tomorrow was yesterday.
Words of wisdom.
Very nice. Fantastic. All right. Thank you so much to each and every one of you. And thank you to everyone who's out there. We actually went from 25,000 views a few days ago to 37,000 just on one channel. So we are growing, and I'm super proud of that and grateful to each and every one of you for your role in helping make that happen. So thank you again. We'll be coming right back, as I mentioned, with Global Adventures. So don't go anywhere. I'll run over to the other studio. I'll see you all again soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.